How are you, Peter?
I'm doing very well. Rich, maybe we'll do a Labor Day telethon.
I'd love it. In, Peter. I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it. So, I was saying it going to break, Red Sox Nation is hoping against hope that David Ortiz continues to knock the cover off the ball to the point where he wonders, maybe I shouldn't retire after all. Is there any chance of that, Peter?
I think it's very, very slight. I had a long talk with him about it the other day, and I mean, he's 40 years old. His feet bother him. He's what he went through last winter because he at this time last year, people were calling for him to retire. He had 231 the first half of last year. What he did in the offseason to the heavy weights that he did in the conditioning to make sure his grip strength was really strong was just exhaustive. He said to me, I just don't want to go through it again. I'm 40. The other thing is, by retiring this way in Boston, unlike Yastrzemski, unlike Williams, he's going to stay in Boston. And his family, I mean, they're very much a part of the city. The last day, they won't just have a day for him. There'll be a statue, in about 4 different places in the city. I can't think of anyone else retiring in that city the same way. Unfortunately, Bobby Orr was traded to the Blackhawks. Bill Russell never had a love affair with Boston until he started coming back about 5 years ago. Larry Bird went home to French Lick. Ortiz has a chance to sort of stay and become, almost like the State House. And I think he really looks forward to that. I'm sure the club will pay him a couple of $1 million to be an ambassador. And, the other thing is, I don't ever remember him being happier than this. I mean, it's so much fun for him playing with 6 or 7 young players who are ridiculously athletic, get on base all the time in front of him. I believe 3rd in the league in stolen bases. The personality of that team has changed so much. I think there's just, he said to me, this is like the right way to go out. And, of course, his dream is that something wonderful happens to him in October. We'll see, what happens with that. But at the same time, I think he's going to be really happy to just to retire and enjoy baseball the rest of his life, living in Weston.
Peter Gammons joining me the day after the de facto quarter pole post of the Major League Baseball season of Memorial Day here on the Rich Eisen Show. Cubs fans should be concerned about blank. Fill in that blank for those nervous fans on the north side of Chicago, Peter.
Any injury to their starting pitching. I mean, I think that would be. I mean, I'm sure a few hearts skipped beats when Jason Hamill went down with cramps in his leg yesterday. They don't have really answers to filling out the 5-man rotation if someone gets hurt. So they need them all to stay healthy. And that's not just Jake Arrieta. I think they need that depth. Their bullpen is good, but their starting pitching has been so good. They've really kept them out of the bullpen, unlike, well, they did yesterday, but Wood came in and threw a no-hitter. So, but that would be one thing that could bother them. And I think it makes it more difficult. If they were in another division, it would be one thing. But the Pirates are really good, and they're going to get a lot better when they have 3 or 4 of the best pitching prospects in baseball come up in July, August, September. And the Cardinals are really starting to get going. The fact that Carlos Martinez looked like a 20-game winner yesterday after having such a struggle, and you kind of know Walker is going to get better. Wainwright is back throwing much better. I think it's that division is. I truly believe it's going to produce 3 postseason teams, and 2 of them unfortunately are going to end up playing each other. But I think that's something else the Cubs, they can't look and say, oh, well, we're all right. And when they were in that little slump for about 2 weeks, it really showed how much they missed Kyle Schwarber, because he's an elite left-handed, 3-4-5 hole hitter, and that power is so important to them, and his absence was very evident for a 2-week spot.
And if 3 teams do come out of the NL Central, that means there won't be a seat in the musical chairs atop the National League East between Washington and the Mets. And should Daniel Murphy continue to do what he is doing, that might be the difference maker. Do you think it's possible we see a 400 season that's currently materializing from him in D.C.?
I don't think it will happen because I think the heat in Washington, the humidity in the summer will wear him down. But he is a great hitter. I mean, what he learned last year with Kevin Long, I mean, just the balance he has at the plate, his ability to stay back, and his ability to stay back and be able to see pitches out of the pitcher's hands so much better than he used to, has made him a great player. I give a lot of credit to the Nationals for breaking down what happened in the postseason and saying this is a long-term event. And, Walker's been good for the Mets, but Daniel Murphy does change a lot. And to me, Washington has some holes offensively, and he has changed a lot. And the other thing is that if David Wright ends up having to go on the disabled list and continually has more physical problems, they're going to miss Murphy's bat. The Mets are going to miss it even more because they tend to be an all-or-nothing offensive team.
Well, it definitely helped that Harvey seemed to be the dark knight again yesterday against the White Sox. Do you think he's turned a corner, Peter?
I do. I really do. I mean, I wasn't concerned about him in the long term, but I think he takes things. What makes him really good is his love of being great. But sometimes when guys have that greatness chipped away or eroded in any way, they're frail, they're human. Like most great athletes are insecure. And I thought it all showed up for him. I mean, he was acting like a guy that was desperately trying to figure out why he wasn't great. As opposed to, I remember I was upstairs when for game 1 of the Cubs series, and I had my glasses trained on him, how he walked to the mound before he went out to start at the bottom of the first inning. And I turned to a couple of friends of mine with the Cubs and said, you guys are screwed. Because Matt's walking out there with, I'm the greatest. And he looked like Justin Verlander's walk to the mound, and which is a great thing. You want pitchers to just go, yeah, I'm really great. I think Clayton Kershaw always does that. But Harvey lost that. And I think that his self-confidence is far more fragile than we realize. I mean, I remember well his freshman and sophomore year in college, he was not a great pitcher. He had a great junior draft year. And so you worry about, okay, where's all this going at times? I think he'll come back and be really good the rest of the year if he stays healthy. I don't think he'll worry about his delivery as much as he was. But to me, the Mets really need him because I think, there's probably a limit on how many innings Steven Matz is going to throw. They need Matt Harvey to pitch 180, 190 really good innings for them.
A couple more questions for Peter Gammons from MLB Network at PGammo on Twitter. So many teams hovering around 500. Yankees, Jays, Indians, now the White Sox, Tigers, Marlins, Phillies. You mentioned the Cardinals, and right here in Los Angeles, the Dodgers. Even with Clayton Kershaw doing what he's doing, they're only 2 over 500. You got the Rockies hovering around at 2. Which team, because the Blue Jays went from 500 to darn near world beaters last year, who do you think's got that shot from Memorial Day to make the move, Peter?
I think Toronto is one. I mean, what they did by signing 2 free agent pitchers who have got, I believe, 17 quality starts and 20 starts between them, happens to me has been one of the biggest surprises in baseball. But that was just great work by them. I think they can score so many runs. Their pitching can be really good. I think the Dodgers will get better. It's just somehow figuring out where that starting rotation is going. I think that the offense will get better. I think Trace Thompson, for instance, is going to have a very big second half. I think Siegel will have a big second half. I look at that roster, and I said the other day on the air, it kind of reminds me of my office. I get up every day, I look around the office, and I say, what in the world am I doing keeping that? And the Dodgers kind of have a roster like that. It's kind of like either a closet or an office. You just go, oh, my goodness, why is this so cluttered? And I think they'll thin it out the second half, play the young players a lot more. But if Ryu is not going to come back quickly, they can't expect Brandon McCarthy to really be in the rotation until almost the All-Star break. They're going to have to do something to find another starter, in my mind, to be able to stay with the Giants, who they have great starting pitching, and they grind it out every day as well as. Matter of fact, there's no team in baseball that grinds out the daily troubles better than the Giants.
So
They're a phenomenal franchise.
I'm wondering, did you just call Adrian Gonzalez a Bernie Carbo bobblehead doll, Peter? Did I just hear that?
No, I mean, I have great respect for Adrian, but
sure.
At this age, and he's still a staple. But I do think that they have so many outfielders and so many different guys playing so many places. I think what we saw this weekend, though, was something that I know the manager and coaching staff feel very strongly about, and that is that Chase Utley has taken them to another place.
Yeah.
I mean, that leadership, the energy. I thought that rookie umpire was, it was crazy. Syndergaard wasn't trying to hit him. I love the fact that Chase just put his hand up. As soon as the ball went right behind his back, he just put his hand up, Okay, they're going to do that. He's not throwing at me. And then, of course, they throw Syndergaard out of the game, which has caused great consternation on Long Island these days.
I bet. Hey, Peter, thanks for joining. Before I do let you go, since our last conversation, Andrew Jackson was announced to be removed from the $20 bill. Does that mean you're going to get fewer sent to you for autographs, do you think?
Yes, yes. And actually, it'll save me money because I don't have to pay for the postage of sending them back. But I'm going to kind of miss getting those $20 bills in the mail.
There you go, Peter. Well, maybe you'll get more before it happens because, it's going out of style, if you will, Peter.
Maybe I will.
Maybe you will. Thanks for calling, Peter.
I promise I won't keep them.
That's it.
I promise.
You never do. I've seen you sign them back in the day in the SportsCenter newsroom and send them back. I've seen it happen. I personally witnessed it. Thanks for joining, Peter. You're the best.
Okay, Rich. Thank you very much.
You bet. There's Peter Gammons.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.